Hiya, welcome to the final video in the polynomials topic at Hiya. What we're looking at doing today is finding functions from graphs. Now, two things you want to be able to do by the end of this video is be able to find the equation of a function given the roots and a point on the graph, and also use our knowledge of the discriminant to identify appropriate roots, which is a kind of wee quirk to these questions that I'll show you in the second example. Now, this will be an example in your notes, but I don't want you to copy it yet. Can you just pay attention to the video for just now, and I'll tell you what to do after that. Now, what we have to do for this skill in polynomials at higher is, given this graph, we have to go back and tell the SQA, tell the enemy what the equation is. So here we've got 4 bits of information. We've got the roots, and we've got another coordinate up here on the y-axis. Now, for this, it's not going to look maybe as functions normally look for us, but we can see here that we have 3 roots: x equals -4, x equals 2, and x equals 4. Now, this x equals -4, we know that has to have come from the bracket or the factor x plus 4, because when we solve it, x plus 4 always turns into x equals -4. Similarly, for x equals 2, we know that's come from a factor x minus 2, and x minus 4 as well is going to be that. So we know that that's the building blocks that's going to make up our f of x function. The one kind of spanner in the works here is, if I were to multiply a function by a number, the roots don't change. So I don't know if this function has been multiplied by something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a constant. I'm going to call it k at the start of this. And that could be any number. I don't know that in a minute. What I do know, though, is this point here, which is 0, 96. So I can use that point as a reference point, because I know this number at the front stretches my graph vertically. So that will tell me exactly how much it has been stretched. So x is 0, y is 96, or f of x in this case is 96. So 96 is equal to k times 0 plus 4 times 0 minus 2 times 0 minus 4. So 96 is equal to, well, that's just 4, that's just minus 2, that's just minus 4. So minus 4 times minus 2 is positive 8, times 4 is 32. So 96 is equal to 32k. It's dead easy, means k is 3. So now I know that f of x is really equal to 3 times x plus 4 times x minus 2 times x minus 4. Okay, that is the function that I've been given. Okay, that's what I have to write down at the end to show that I know. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't look like a big string of x cubes and x squareds. That is still the function. Okay, now I've got a note for you here. Sorry, can you copy that in? Can you pause the video so you can copy that? That's just a general equation going on. And then can you go back and copy this one as well, for the one that we looked at? Okay, so after you've got those two down, we'll move on to the second example. Now, from this graph here, you know that there's 2 roots and there's a third point here on the y-axis. It doesn't have to be on the y-axis, it just so happens these 2 equations I've given you have been. Now, for this one here, we know that x is equal to -2 and x is equal to 3, which comes from, in x minus 2's case, it comes from the bracket x plus 2, and x equals 3 is going to be x minus 3. Now, a small problem here is actually this would give us a quadratic, because 2 factors will give us x squared minus x minus 6, or some factor of that, some multiple of that. But really, I know that's not a quadratic. I can see it's not a quadratic. The problem here comes in this root here. Because that just comes down and sits on the x-axis, I know the same way from the quadratics in National 5, I know that must be 2 equal roots of x equals 3. So there's 2 roots of that x minus 3, which means it's going to be x minus 3 all squared. So again, I'm working with a function. I don't know if there's any vertical stretching, so I'm going to have a constant there. But it's x plus 2, and because I've got equal roots there, because it's sitting on the x-axis, I know that has to be x minus 3 all squared. The other coordinate I've got is 0, 9. So 9 is going to go on as f of x, and 0 is going to go on as x. And then it's just a case of solving that equation. 0 subtract 3 is -3, but -3 squared is +9 times 2 is 18. So k is 9 over 18, or k is a half, which means my formula here is f of x is equal to a half x plus 2 x minus 3 all squared. Okay, now that's your last skill in polynomials. Obviously, just keep going back and asking your teacher if you need the help. Come back, use the videos if that's helpful. Yeah, thank you very much.